Hey everybody, welcome to the 94th episode of Taps and Patience, live from the Toolpath booth at IMTS.
Dude, this is so weird.
Dude, this is the first time Harrison and I have ever seen each other. Well,
Yeah.
in person.
Yeah, we just met in person this week, so it's all kinds of new things for us this week.
Oh, I never finished my intro. I'm AJ with Audacity Micro, here with Harrison of Precision Ingenuity, and
Justin Gray, CTO of Toolpath.
how you doing, Dustin? I just called you Dustin. Justin,
Ah.
I know your name.
I'm doing okay. My voice is running out. We've been demoing all week, but otherwise I'm good.
So how's the show been for you guys?
Non-stop. Booth has been packed from open to close every day, which is why I'm losing my voice. But great. Really, really good feedback. Positive reception. So.
Yeah, I've seen a ton of people walking around with that little black sticker underneath their name. It is just going everywhere.
Yeah, because you need the sticker to get into the happy hour for the free beer. Yeah.
Oh man.
I have to say, this booth, all the stuff that you provided for everyone in the community has made the show 100 times better for me. If I didn't have a central place to come down and set my backpack for a couple minutes, my laptop's been living here all week, and just having a place to come sit has been absolutely amazing.
I mean, you can thank Al Watmo for that. He really felt strongly that we needed to support the community, so they put the booth together.
You nailed it.
Yeah. Thanks.
It's the mullet booth.
The mullet booth, yeah.
It is the mullet booth.
It's
Wow.
It's business in the front, party in the back.
I don't know how I feel about that.
For those of you that aren't here, their booth is literally about 6 feet of demos in the front and probably 50 feet of cornhole and drinks and storage and bar in the back.
Yeah. We have 3 demo booths set up with Toolpath branded toolboxes. I hope everybody wants to get custom branded toolboxes. Those are pretty cool.
Yeah, those are cool.
From Rad Machining. And then Datron put a Datron and M8 Cube in front of our booth, and I've been playing with that thing every morning before people show up.
Yeah, I think it's one of the only Datrons at the show. I went to the Datron booth and
They don't have one.
The only Datron at the show.
Dude,
yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. Datron's been a great partner to work with. But yeah, they were excited to be in the machine hall, and that's where they put their machine.
Yeah, and all the parts you've been running on the Datron have been programmed through Toolpath?
Actually not.
Okay. I was wondering about that.
One of them had some bootstrap programming done, but Chris Hopkins, who brought us the Datron and got us set up, he programmed the parts to run on there.
Gotcha.
And, we should probably have programmed them in Toolpath, but we really ran out of time to get everything set up last minute. And he showed up with programs ready to run, so we ran them.
Yeah, and that's kind of in beta, isn't it, right now?
We call that the last mile, right? So the product we're selling right now is the estimating product. Mm-hmm. So you upload your part and you configure it with your tool libraries, and it'll help you get a price quote and a machining strategy to get a quote around. The last mile Toolpath stuff we push that to Fusion. That's going to be 3 to 6 months before that's really ready for prime time.
It's kind of like what I've been saying with my goals in my shop right now. Automating the first 80% of something is not that hard. Automating the last 20% of something is super difficult.
Yeah.
And I feel like you guys have done the first 80, now you're working on the last 20.
Yeah, we have some ideas for how to make it better, but we really needed to focus a lot. I mean, the estimating tool is the foundation of the automation because it does all the tool matching and everything. And it's really no point in pushing the tools to Toolpath or to Fusion until you see that estimate in the machining strategy and you agree with it, right? So that's kind of the philosophy. We've been refining that part of it, getting the tool matching working, and the setups and the AI really nailed, and now we're ready to focus on that last mile.
Yeah. It's been interesting because honestly, before this whole event, I knew about you guys. I think you contacted AJ originally, and then I got involved with it a little bit. And we, to be fair, we haven't used it that much yet, and that's totally on us. But we had a great conversation where it's I really want to get using it because if we start taking on more Xometry work, it'd be a great way to test to see if it's a good part for us.
I think it's the best use case for it, at least right now in its current form.
I agree. We did a little bit of Xometry work while we were spooling up, mostly so that I could get experience as a machinist. I feel it's really important to sort of understand and empathize with what happens when you're Sunday night and you need to ship a part tomorrow and you can't break a tool and you only have so much stock left, right? And you mess it up anyway. I needed to feel that for myself so that I could understand the importance of the kind of programs we're going to be pushing down, and the difference between like a good program that's reliable, process reliability versus like screaming, tearing machine metal out, ripping it off. So when we did that work, like the challenge was that like the good jobs go so quick there, right? And so a tool like this, first of all, even if you didn't use any of the automatic tool pathing, just knowing if you have the tools to make the part.
Yeah.
Like, can I make this? Is this, or do I have to go buy tools? Is so valuable. Lets you pick those jobs much quicker.
Yeah. Getting started on Xometry, that was the number one reason that I would end up shipping something late, is because I only had like one of the tool, or I thought I had the tool and I didn't, and then I had to like overnight it, which, there goes all your margins and your time frame.
Oh, yeah.
So just, being able to know that you have the tool ready to go is huge.
Yeah. Setting up tool libraries in Toolpath is one of the sort of initial activation energies. I know you've had a little bit of trouble with that.
So hard.
Not everybody has a good tool library, and it's kind of like when we went from 3-axis to 5-axis, all of a sudden you had to model tool holders, but nobody really modeled them before that.
Yep.
But you really shouldn't be running 5-axis stuff without modeling your tool holders and simming. And so AI kind of amps that up a level, and it makes your presets be really, really important. And so definitely there's some work to set things up. We will be coming out with some tools to help people bootstrap that a lot more easily. But if you don't have your tool library sorted, if you don't have your tools and tool holders, at the very least, and if you don't have some idea of what kind of feeds and speeds you want to run, then you probably need to do that before you check out Toolpath.
So then let me ask you this question. So we do have a lot of presets, but we have the problem of we ran everything on a Tormach. So I have a whole bunch of what I would call junk features because we're limiting the RPM, we're limiting the amount of load that we could take now that we have a Haas. We don't have the Tormach anymore. So there's a lot of toolpaths or a lot of presets we got to purge. And then the other problem we have is that we've never developed a strong naming scheme to where we can go, okay, this is stainless roughing, stainless flat, or aluminum roughing, whatever. And so, like, how important is the naming convention for your guys' system versus, like, whenever you're setting up your presets?
Well, you can use whatever naming convention you want, but we do have one we suggest. And for you, I'll show you some special magic spreadsheet stuff that I've developed for prototypes. I call it the Tim Paul magic. He sat down and really came up with some really good sort of default feeds and speeds that we can lay into any tool. So even if you just want to use that to play with Toolpath, we'll be developing that as a standalone application that anybody can use. But I'd be happy to demo it for you.
Yeah, I definitely want to see that.
And since you don't have your own naming scheme, it'll even give you our recommended one too.
Okay.
I bet you within 10 minutes I could have your whole library set up for your house.
Dude, that'd be sick. So, yeah.
I spent a couple hours going through my tool library and building up all my speeds and feeds. The ones that I didn't already have nailed down, I went and I got from the Harvey tool calculator, even though I don't use only Harvey. And even outside of Toolpath, that has been probably the biggest productivity step I have taken in a long time. Because I probably break a third as many tools because I'm not guessing anymore.
Yeah, it's definitely worth the work.
So have you gone around and like visited many shops, or have you just been stuck at Toolpath the whole time?
I've had the pleasure of visiting quite a few shops, actually. I got to see CJ Abraham's shop, and I went to the Servant shop. I have an invite to Dylan Jackson's shop. I haven't made it happen yet.
Okay.
But I've been to see a bunch. I might get to go see Vermont Micro next week. I'm really excited about that. They have all the Kerns. I think they have 5 Kerns right now, and a bunch of Hermleys. So.
Is there any kind of through line that you see that's common through all the shops, or are they all pretty specialized to what they do?
I would say that the through line is every machinist is different. I had this weird moment the other day. My dad's a surgeon, and I had this moment when I realized that machinists are actually just like surgeons, and parts are just like people. Every part's a snowflake. Every person's different, right? You put two doctors in the same OR, one after another. Even if they have like a similar patient with the same kind of illness, the doctors will do the surgery a little bit different, right? And maybe they're both right. Maybe one's genuinely better, but they're just different. And machinists are kind of the same way. So no, I would say that every shop has got its own unique flavor. I will say that hanging out in CJ's shop felt a little bit like seeing the future. And it's kind of the same feeling I had when I was at the Lights Out manufacturing demo here with Chris Sabatini and the Lights Out guys. Man, I'm standing at that thing, and they're running like 50 or 75 unique parts a day, 25 parts in a loop, right? So they get to like 50 or maybe 75 in a day, 73, something like that. And they're doing it with like hundreds of people walking around their booth. There's a robot loading parts, taking them out. And the parts vary from like 1 inch to 4.5 inches in Y, essentially.
It's insane.
And like, I couldn't run my machine shop. Like, if somebody comes and visits my shop, there goes my productivity for the day, right?
Yeah.
But you go to CJ's shop and he's got the Williman set up with the, the bar feeding and stuff. And he's got a really cool bar feed set up on a Speedio too. And you see those guys doing it, and I'm thinking, man, we're not doing this right.
No.
So you see stuff like that, and I feel like it's the future. But I don't have that kind of robot in our shop. And you see other shops where people are really being very careful, or high precision stuff with like the way you deal with the vise is really, really important. So I think everybody's parts are a little bit different. And I hate to shill Toolpath too much, but it is IMTS, so forgive me a little bit. Like, what we want is for Toolpath to give a different answer to every shop. That's why you have to put that work in to configure it to program like you, so that your shop, AJ, and your shop, Harrison, would get a different answer on the same part. Mm-hmm. So you're going to make them differently. You have different tools, different machines, RPM limits, work holding, and it needs to have that kind of flexibility. It needs to be a tool that you tell it how you like to work, not that it tells you how you should work.
Gotcha. Does fixturing come in at all on the quoting side?
Not
Is it
right
pretty,
now.
Pretty much just.
I have a plan.
Okay.
I have a plan. What I would love to do and what I plan to do is to allow people to define container files and then upload them and attach them to the cut configs the same way they do with their tooling. So a specific cut config would be tied to a specific container. Now, I don't have all the details worked out for like how you might deal with like varying work holding and things like that, like varying riser heights or vices. But the general idea is that you'd have a container file, you'd attach to the cut config, and then the part would get uploaded, put into like a joint origin that maybe has a very specific name. Maybe we name the parameters a certain way, the stock size will get set up, and then you're off and running. And in fact, the really cool part would be, I know you have a pretty good container setup, AJ. You could leave that all in there, and like Toolpath could like put its stuff in a folder. So like mix and match like container stuff, and if any of the Toolpath stuff is useful, use that. So I'm actually really excited about that because it's kind of a hack for us. Mm-hmm. We get your work holding and your machine model, which actually opens the door to 3+2 for us.
Yeah.
But it also gives you a lot of value as a user because like you have pretty good automation set up in your container method already. And now I'm not asking you to change that anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about that.
Can I ask you some like technical questions?
Yeah, go for it. Anything you want.
So, is Toolpath an actual AI product, or is it a algorithm, like smart set of algorithms?
So
is it learning?
So for all those listeners out there, every time I say AI, AJ's eyes roll a little bit. It is an actual AI algorithm. It's a very, believe it or not, a very simple AI algorithm. Like if I went to the ChatGPT folks and showed them my AI, they'd say, "Oh, look at that cute little baby AI over there." I'm going to oversimplify things a little bit to answer your question. There are two kinds of AIs out there. There are more than two, but broadly there are two kinds. There's like what I call the Hoover. Goes up on the internet, gets all the data, like infinite amounts of data, and then it trains a model to kind of work off that. So like Tesla's Autopilot and ChatGPT and image recognition stuff, that's like Hoovers. And then the stuff we use is like a chess AI, like a game playing AI. It's called reinforcement learning. So our unique stuff is that we figured out how to define machining as a board game. So again, I'm going to really oversimplify it for you, but if you imagine a single setup for a 3-axis part, you have like a checkers board where one row is for each feature you're going to machine in that setup, and one column is for every tool that you might possibly, every tool in your library. So obviously, like some of the squares on that board you can't go to, and some of the squares you can. And so now machining your part becomes kind of like a candy land of like, well, you start here and you've got to move around and hit all the spots, right? So that's how that AI is set up. And the neat thing about that is we don't need to train it on your parts and your parts. We don't hoover up the parts. We have like a very small data set of parts that we train that on because it basically just has to learn the rules of the game. So that's how it's set up.
Okay.
So how are you defining for your AI what a good toolpath or set of toolpaths is versus a bad one?
So it has a couple of rules to score the board game. So it first of all, it's trying to minimize machining time. It definitely in a 3-axis context is trying to minimize setups. So you might see it like surface and angled, like an angled face versus 3+2, it'll just rotate the part. And it's also definitely trying to machine the entire part. So those are the big things. Like minimum time, machine the whole part, minimum number of setups. There's some other things in there. There are some other rules, like sometimes it's not allowed to, for example, chamfer a feature, like a through feature or an outside feature until it's finished it. So those are like basic rules of the game that any machinist would follow, unless you don't follow it. Sometimes you have to do weird stuff and like chamfer it before you finish it, but those are the cases that we want you to spend your time on, not, clear your calendar to spend your time on those cases.
Okay, I had a question. Whenever we think of Fusion, they'll have different kernels that they use to figure out their high-speed machining or whatever toolpath they're creating. Is there something like that for the AI? Is there like a kernel AI that you started with that you then turned into the tool that you're using today, or did you program it from the ground up from scratch?
I'll give you two answers. One is that the AI actually doesn't need to know the specific toolpath. It's very abstract. It says, I'm going to rough this feature, I'm going to finish that feature,
okay.
And it makes a educated guess about how expensive that will be based on material removal rates. So like when it's generating the strategy, that's what it's doing. But we do actually generate toolpaths, and actually just a few days ago, right before IMTS, we announced a partnership with ModuleWorks. So we will be generating toolpaths like to push down into Fusion, and we'll be using the ModuleWorks kernel for that.
No, I wasn't. I guess they might have confused the question. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying like Fusion has kernels that generate that. I'm saying on the toolpath side, when you say AI, is it AI something you developed, or do you have like a different third-party company that has an AI,
we built the AI,
a general AI that you?
We built it from scratch.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah,
that's impressive.
Oh, thanks. Like I said, the AI folks would find it to be a baby AI. All the hard work goes into building that board game.
Well, you say baby AI, but I mean, you guys haven't existed long, so you've like just appeared on the scene. Like when were you guys actually founded?
The company's about 3 years old.
Yeah.
We did a little bit of tech dev and building up the capability, and we went through some revisions before we settled on our current AI. But yeah,
I'd say that's still pretty quick to get up and running like that from nothing.
Thanks. Well, you got to be fast when you're VC funded.
Yeah.
It's all about runway.
That's cool. Okay. Do you have any questions for us?
Yeah. Why'd you guys get into being machinists?
Do you want to go or do you want me to go?
Yeah, you go first.
So my background is mechanical engineering, and I worked in that field for about 5 years. And in my particular area, all the machine shops that I dealt with were very low tech. Most of them didn't have any kind of CAD/CAM experience or exposure whatsoever.
Just hand coding?
I mean, yeah, most of them.
Wow.
Like, so most of them will use like Mazak, like their on whatever their
Conversational?
system. Yeah, their Mazak conversational or hand programming. I mean, to show you how bad it is, we had this large order of shafts that we ordered in, square shafts for a conveyor, and we needed some keyways cut in the square shafts, and they just put it on a manual machine and used a hacksaw by hand to try to cut the keyways. And I mean, this was a large order of, 5-figure order of like all these shafts, and they all come in with, and it's because they didn't want to spend $200 on a tool, a proper grooving tool to cut it. It's just like, are you serious? Like, what year is this? And so, I mean, I've since found that there are a few good shops in the area, but I mean, there's a local shop that I deal with, and they've been in existence for over 80 years, and they only have 2-axis lathes. They don't have any dual spindle. They don't have any. They just got a live tooling lathe, and that's their most advanced piece of machine. No Y-axis.
Wow.
They have 3 big Mazak 3-axis machines, but one of them has a 4th axis, and the only thing they do it for is shaft work, putting flats on things. I mean, so like I programmed a part for them the other day, and it had a surfacing with a ball end mill, and their machinist was like, I didn't know our machine could move in 3 axes at the same time.
Oh, wow.
So I mean, it's just stuff like that we've dealt with, and so in our area, there's a major opportunity for us to come up and disrupt. I mean, compared to the industry, we're probably still very green and like very behind everyone else, but for our particular area, I feel like there's a big opportunity for us to come in and really shake things up. And
cool.
So, and I've always wanted to start my own company. I've always wanted to do my own thing, and so I've been planning to do something. And machining is that perfect blend of hands-on and thinking with your head. That because I don't like sitting in front of a computer and program and designing all day. That's what I did before, and it was just you're just in the office and you're just sitting in front of a screen for 10, 15, 12 hours a day, depending on how busy things are, and that gets old. I need to get up, I need to move around, loading parts, loading tools. It gets you out of your seat, gets you active, and I like that.
What about you, AJ?
So I started looking into machining in college. So I was studying mechanical engineering at the time, and I had a friend, my friend Scott of Design Everything. I think we were just like sitting there, maybe we were playing Halo or something, and he shows me his phone, and on it was a Kickstarter, which I didn't even know anything about the company at the time, but it was the Tactile Turn Pen Kickstarter. And they had made like $200,000 for a pen. And we went, we can do that. I want $200,000 for a pen. Pens are simple. We can do that. And so I had been using CATIA at the time. That was the program I learned in school. And I drew up some drawings, and we tried to take them to a machine shop, walked up to the machine shop, handed them the print, which was, I'm sure, awful. And they were very polite. They were very nice. They showed us around, and then rightfully so, never called us back or followed up at all.
No quoted you.
Yeah, they no quoted us, and which was probably the right choice for them at the time. And so then we realized, okay, no one's gonna take us seriously. We need to just make these things ourselves. And so I was a mechanical engineer. I knew what machining was. I didn't know anything about it, but I knew what it was. And so I just typed the word machining into my podcast player, because I listened to a lot of podcasts at the time. I didn't do YouTube yet, and I found the Business of Machining podcast.
Wow.
And that was listening to the John's talk was my first exposure into machining. I ended up getting a little CNC router at one point. That was my very first, well, other than a 3D printer, that was technically my first CNC machine. Didn't really do much with it. And then I found a little Shoreline lathe that was like repackaged by Light Machine Co. And I bought that so we could use pens. I retrofitted the controller on it. It was actually a pretty sweet little machine.
Wow.
Then we realized it was too short to make pens, because they had like 8 inches of travel, and by the time you had...
If only there was some automated platform that could warn you when your parts
Yeah,
don't fit
I know, right?
in the travels of your machine. Yeah,
You weren't around yet.
yeah, that's right.
That's true, but it had like 8 inches of travel. It had a really nice big chuck on it, but that chuck took up like 2 inches of travel. And then you have like a 4-inch pen, which means you need like to drill a 4-inch hole in it, or a 3-inch hole, and you're out of travels all of a sudden. And so we ended up making a top instead. That was our arch top, our first Kickstarter. And things kind of just slowly snowballed their way up from there. I went from that Shoreline lathe, then I got a Shoreline mill, then I got the Pocket NC, and then I got my first Tormach, and then I got my second Tormach, and then I got the office mill.
Cool.
And maybe soon here, a third Tormach.
Well, speaking of that, what are you guys buying at IMTS?
I'm out of money. I just bought a machine.
Okay.
So there should be a Tormach landing on my floor soon, the 1500. That is a beta test demo kind of unit that I'll be able to make some videos for them, and I'm hoping to do some training videos.
That's a really sweet
for
machine.
them. It's
The
really
Tormach
nice.
booth is actually like right behind the Toolpath
Yeah.
booth, so I got to go over there. I can't usually leave the booth for more than 5 minutes, but I got to spend some time over there. That's a cool machine.
So, and that machine will hold me over, I think, until I can find something a little bit more expensive. I've looked at a lot of small 5-axes here.
Which ones?
I've looked at the Kitamura Med Center. I looked at the...
Not cheap.
Not
No.
cheap. Nothing I've looked at has been
Well,
cheap.
Yeah.
I've looked at the Enshu 5-axis, also not cheap. I looked at Chiron, way not cheap. The most interesting machine I have seen is a Chinese company that is Jingdao. And
Yeah, they're super accurate.
they have like the Chinese Kern basically.
Yeah.
And it's quite a bit cheaper than a Kern, but it looks really capable, really nice finishes, really easy to integrate with automation, and it's able to generate CMM reports like right on it because it's so accurate. It's actually like more accurate than a lot of CMMs. So in terms of setting up like one and dones, like getting the part right on the first time, I think that one's looking really good. I'm waiting for a quote on that. There's also a Haas UMC 350 that has been sitting in a factory for a year and a half. And I'm trying to bully Haas into giving me like a killer deal
It's
on
the
that
HD
thing.
one?
Yeah.
That's the same one Saunders has. I got to see that when I took the 5-axis class he offered.
Yeah. So they have one that's been there for like a year and a half, and I think marked down 50% at this point.
That'd be a
And
great
I'm gonna
machine for you.
Try to get them
Yeah.
to come down a little bit more even.
How many tools are in that machine?
No idea.
Is it
Not
the Cat?
many on
Is it
that
the
one.
Cat 40 or is it the BT?
It's the BT30 20K spindle.
Then that'd be 20 tools.
20 tools.
So the
which
other
is
one's 18.
Same as what I have now.
Yeah.
Okay, that'd be a good machine for your
Is
parts,
it,
I think.
is it 20 plus 1? It might be 20 plus 1. I think it's a 20 carousel.
Probably, yeah. Dual arm changer, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Which would be different than yours because yours is an umbrella right now.
U500 wasn't on that list?
The brother,
It's on everyone's list now.
it is nice.
Thanks to Dylan.
Yeah. Well, I was looking at it before. I didn't realize he was looking at it.
Oh, yeah, you definitely found brother before Dylan, 100%.
No, not brother, not brother. I'm saying I was considering the U500 before. He was all Herbla.
Yeah,
and so, anyways,
I like the U500. The platter is really big, which people tell me that machine has enough access and travel where I just put a riser on it and it doesn't really matter. But
Check it in Machine Sim. Put a bunch of your parts
That's true.
through it. Yeah. I doubt you would need that big of a riser. The real challenge on that machine is the spindle height. The actual one on the floor there, it's the XD2 is better, but you'll end up needing some pretty long holders, like 120 millimeter holders. But that's just kind of 5-axis life, right? So, anything else? Work holding or anything?
oh man, I'm trying to decide between new machine and some kind of automation. And
Automation.
Honestly, automation is the way I'm leaning towards right now. I would like to have a dedicated 5-axis at some point, but I need to, with this production work I got coming up, I really need to get something running whenever I'm not there.
Could you make that part here? I mean, we're looking at it here. Could you make it on a 3-axis with a form tool?
I need to look at it in CAD and actually put a form tool in there and try to see if I can make something work.
'Cause
There is potential for it. Honestly, coming here and talking to a lot of people, I've got a whole different view of what could be possible, but I'm not sure.
I mean, the part looks like it could be made with a form tool on a 3-axis, and
it may add an extra op.
Yeah.
but if the robot's loading it,
Yeah.
it's really. I mean,
But-
just go stand in front of the lights out booth for like half an hour and try to imagine running your shop like that. Imagine
Yeah.
doing anything but swapping parts through the machine.
Yeah. So that's what we got to get figured out. But we'll see. I mean, I like that the lights out booth was so cool.
The actuator, you see how hard it grips the part? It's like a stamping unit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't look at that.
Yeah, they have a little vise next to it. You can like play with the air feed on it.
Oh, yeah?
And like advance and open and close the vise, but it's like they have a chunk of aluminum and it's like the corners of it are about to fall off because of how stamped it is. It's really, really powerful.
So can you adjust how much power is putting through it?
You do by changing the air pressure that goes into it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I got to look at the Aroa stuff. I'm getting a kind of a used kit from Breaking Taps.
Oh, okay. He's
So-
got a med center, right?
So yeah, he has a med center too. I don't think he was a huge fan of his, which kind of turns me off to it a little bit. But it looked very nice. But I've never actually seen an Aroa system up close, and so I went over to the Aroa booth and played with it and picked the guy's brain about like how do you set work coordinate systems and stuff.
0 Point before it was cool. That's Aroa. And
Yeah.
the 3R system too,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. I think, doesn't Grimsmo run the Aroa stuff? That's what Kern uses.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think he runs the stuff that's slightly larger than mine. Mine's like the 50 millimeter one, so it's pretty small.
And Adam, the machinist, uses Aroa too.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a great effect.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, that's cool. So you're gonna get some kit here?
I don't think I'm gonna buy anything right now. I'll see what comes in from Breaking Taps and play with it. I may get some knockoff stuff.
Do you have any 0 Point stuff?
I do. I just got a Lang system.
Okay.
So, and I've absolutely loved the little bit that I've used it. And I've been extremely frustrated that Lang doesn't have very good options for automation without doing.
Go check out the HWR booth because their stuff's all Lang compatible, and that's what's on the lights out vise.
Oh, it is?
HWR, yeah. Also, pro tip. I think he's going to sell like steep discount for anything that's on the floor. He said anything he doesn't have to ship home, he'll sell cheap.
Yeah.
So go check out that booth and pick out some stuff.
Yeah, I need to. But I did find that Methods had they had a Lang plate on there, and I was like, what is this? And I talked to one of the guys there, and apparently they're buying the standard ones and they're modifying it themselves to make it interchangeable by air actuation.
Oh, because you want to do pallet loading?
Yeah. And so like they have it where they modified they're buying Lang and then they're making their own add-on to it to be able to make it actuated by air.
I'm all on the part loading train. I mean, if I was to get a system from IMTS, which I'm not, I would be looking at part loading. I get the appeal of pallet loading, I really do, but like the part loading is, I think, the way to go.
Yeah,
especially for like production runs.
Yeah, I say it depends on what you're doing.
Yeah.
I want to be loading. I want to be able to set up my machine and run 8 different programs in 8 different parts overnight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
25 different parts overnight.
Or 25.
Yeah,
the op 1 is fine. It's whenever you get op 2 and 3 or whatever else that things get a little bit more complicated.
you run. I'm not sure, because like especially in production stuff like you're setting up, you would
Yeah.
just change out the grippers and run them.
Yeah, I could, if I was like AJ, if I wanted to have multiple part SKUs at different times, but then what it might end up having to do is just schedule it and do one night of one part, one night of another part.
But I'll say this, right? Some automation's better than no automation. So if you could
Exactly.
automate all your op 1s, but you just had to run op 2s like you're doing it now, that's still a lot better than what you're doing without op 1s running.
Mm-hmm.
So I think reaching for that like 100% solution on the first shot is kind of like a red herring.
It's not reaching for the 100% solution that is the problem. What I'm running into is which direction makes the most sense. It might make the most sense for one particular part, but looking at my business and trying to figure out which direction I'm going, which direction makes the most sense for the work that I'm going to be getting down 6 months down the road.
Well,
That's the problem. I'm trying to envision what that looks like as I'm growing these relationships.
I know the Lights Out guys do pallet loading stuff. So,
Oh yeah, they do. I talked to them about both.
yeah.
So I really want to make part loading work. I'm just not sold on it for this particular part yet. And maybe that'll just take sitting down and having a conversation or going through some processes with them to really get me comfortable with it. So everyone's telling me to go that way. I'm getting a lot of voices that way, and I really want to make it work because it would be the easiest because, you know, as it's been said, who wants to sit there and unload and hand load so many different pallets every day?
Also, I mean, I'm only doing 4-axis stuff, but you can cut a lot. You have to cut a lot slower when you don't have as much rigidity. So for production stuff, you might be able to make a lot more parts quickly doing like multi-op 3-axis stuff. I found that out when I was making the emblems for these hats.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you really got to slow it down. The rigidity is the thing.
No, I have no rigidity problems with this part. At least I'm
On 5-axis?
yeah.
Okay,
So
that's good.
I'm using Mighty Bites. I'm using the Talon for op 1.
Oh, because you're not tabbing it off.
No. I've got for op 1. I'm throwing a raw block of material. I have the Talon and then the Mighty Bite with the knife edges grabbing it. And then for op 2, I have a centerpiece that goes in, and it's not going anywhere.
Okay.
Like you'd have to shear a bolt to get it to come off.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so like I have the 5 flute core 5 from the 3/8 from Kennametal, and I'm sending that at 12,000 at close to 300 inches a minute, and it's not pulling it out.
I got to play with Jay Pearson's vacuum chuck. He gave one for the Daytron at the show. Mm-hmm. What about high density work holding as like a middle ground, like a vacuum system you could load off the machine?
Yeah, I do like that. I've wanted to do something like that, and I had the perfect part for that when I was first starting out. So I had a customer I was working with, and so it was a different job shop. That same one I was talking about that's been around for 80 years. They had a part they'd been running for like 20 years, and they were running it on a Bridgeport, and it was like 6 ops, and they were doing it with one part at a time, one part in a vise. This old guy that was like 90 years old has been out there forever, has been running it. And so they're running like 50,000 or 100,000 of them a year kind of deal. And so I totally wanted to get that was my first part I wanted to get. And they ended up losing it because they raised their price like 3 times and then the company took it back. But I was wanting to get a vacuum work holding to be able to grid that part out and just.
I think, well, you don't have to use vacuum. You can use like his Pro pallet system with like Mighty Bite clamps and everything. So you could use your existing work holding system and just cut a pallet.
Oh yeah.
And then swap them in and out. You could do high density stuff, have like long run times.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think you'd be in for that like $3-4 grand for that setup.
Yeah.
I would start there. And that would get you to like real real improvements in sort of efficiency.
Mm-hmm.
And then, make enough money off the job, you can think about the robot.
Yeah. No, I need to sit down with those guys and have a consult or something.
Yeah.
So-
I mean, you should definitely talk to Pearson too. Then I
Yeah.
think maybe his like Pro pallet system might be a
Well,
really good fit
his
for
Maps Mini for the 5-axis.
Oh, yeah.
That was another one I would be interested in.
Yeah, that would be good too.
So he just left today. I was hoping that, didn't he just leave today?
I think today was his last day here.
Yeah, I missed him. I saw him briefly yesterday, and then I was in the middle of something, and so I just barely caught him.
Oh yeah, or that. Do a tombstone and put like.
That's
20...
what I'm doing now. Is basically a tombstone.
Oh, you have a tombstone. Okay.
So that's what I got, the Lang system. I got a tombstone. My plan was to have one in the machine, one out of the machine.
Yeah.
It's not a quick change like the Pearson. It's the bolt turn with the Lang, but it was still significantly faster because it's about a 5 to 7 minutes to change out
So you have
parts.
a workable solution now. You're just looking to make it better.
So right now, like I'm producing over 300 parts a week on the 5-axis.
Okay.
Without working crazy hours.
Oh, that's great.
So I mean, I got decent throughput right now, and I can leave it alone for about 35 minutes. So
why didn't you just talk to Graham about like buy 10 more of those pallets and have him swap them in?
that's the main reason I was looking for.
Okay.
So
I bet they could get the robot to unscrew the Lang plate for you.
Yeah. Well, the Lang has that switch. They have a lever you can stick on there.
That's right.
Where you can pull it back. So yeah.
Would fall off. Oh, you could reorient the table. It'll be okay.
Yeah, no, you just. I mean, the Lang system is literally like they have one of their basic ones. They have that lever that they flip, and so you flip the lever, you stick it down, you flip it closed, and you're done. And so if you can teach the robot to do all that movement, then
I've seen automation setups where they use the robot to open and close it with the lever.
yeah, they have that going in their booth right now.
That's the solution, man. You should do that.
Yeah, and that's the one I was leaning towards that everyone's telling me to go part loading against.
I think yeah. I mean, you already have a workable process that kind of works. You're going to spend a lot on tombstones.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just need
How long does one tombstone run for?
35 minutes.
Okay, so I mean, you're going to like run overnight. You're going to
14.
Yeah, it's a lot of tombstone money.
It is a lot of tombstone money, but I don't have to worry about a misload. I mean, it's much harder to misload a vice or a pallet than it is
I think
a part.
the Lights Out guys have shown that they can handle misloads, man. If they're running nonstop all week at IMTS.
Well, yeah. But, anyways, like I said, that's where my fears come from. I'm not trying. I want it to work that way because then I don't have to load and unload pallets.
Yeah.
So that I want it to work.
Yeah.
And
Cool.
I'd be willing to give it a shot, but I need to sit down with them and consult on it.
I'll be really curious to hear what you decide to do.
I will be too.
And I would be like, having done this long enough, I would be willing to bet you're probably going to be like it'll be like your third solution that you end up implementing that's going to be the one that works. Like,
Yeah.
you always implement something to just start getting parts, and then you'll implement something that you'll think is better, and then like you learn enough from that to really figure out the right way.
And I've absolutely loved having the Lang plate because we do enough job shop with onesie twosie stuff that I can pop off that. There's been many times where I have jobs that come up, I just pop that off, I throw a vise on there, I run a 5-axis part or whatever, and then I switch it back to that other pallet, and then I'm back to running production.
You have a VF3, don't you?
VF3.
Big table.
Yeah.
Wait, we're missing the obvious solution here. The middle ground, the number 2 solution. You need to go talk to Michael Gimbel.
Yeah, well, I've thought about that too.
You put a slug of material on that table and just let it make op 1s all night, and then switch it over and make op 2s the next day. Yeah. So now we're back to 3. Well, I guess he could load it onto the trunnion for you if you really wanted. So.
Yeah, I thought about that.
Then your investment's just probably $5 or $6 grand, and all that actuated vice and everything gets you set up to use a robot later.
Mm-hmm. The thing that I was trying to figure out is if I went gimbal, I wanted to have some type of 0-point system on the table itself, so I could go from having like a large plate with all my parts laid out for gimbal versus going back to vice work to hold like a 26-inch part.
They'll sell you a bunch of those big old 4x4 Lang plates. I have them, but they're like $6 grand a piece or something.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was leaning towards, one of those. And so there's so many different, and that's the work holding and you go Lang, Shunk, 5th Axis, and there's other guys out there that do that kind of stuff.
You could use puck chucks. That might be a good use for puck chucks. Saunders puck chucks on your table for holding the thing.
Yeah, and see, that's like I said. There's so many different solutions we're trying to figure out. It's a lot to take in, and a lot of different directions you can go.
Cool. Well, I'm really curious to see what you choose now, since we talked about part loading with a cobot, spindle grippers.
We're just going to go through all the automation solutions that exist.
How bad of an idea do you think it would be to use one of those spindle grippers to pick up an entire row of pallet? One of the small ones, one of the like the 55
I
millimeters.
have no idea. I talked to Michael. He'll tell you the answer. I think you could do it.
Because I think there's probably people with
I think it's just
heavier
a weight
parts
limit.
than
Yeah.
what my entire palette would be.
Probably.
Because then you could stage. Well, this would be like on the Tormach, not the OM. But you could stage a couple pallets there and just spindle gripper them in.
Yeah, that's a great idea. So you're both going to go talk to Michael.
Yeah. I haven't seen their booth.
I haven't made it to their booth yet either.
They're here somewhere.
Where are they? Which
They're
hall?
actually right across the hall from the Lights Out, so you can go talk to both of them, like literally right
Let's
behind
go do
Lights
this
Out.
after. We'll
Yeah,
go
we'll
do
have
that,
to swing
Harrison.
back there.
Yeah.
The other thing I saw that I really liked was there was it was actually A1, that Chinese work holding company that does they do knockoff whatever 0 points, pretty much all of them at this point. But they had a really cool system that was a little tiny self-contained Aroa pallet system that had a station on the top of it, and then it had a station at 90 degrees on the side. And Aroa pallets will index in 90-degree intervals. So you had basically you could get all 5 sides
Like
with
the
that
flux,
one little thing.
Like the flux.
Yeah.
Flux.
The Flux Puck.
Yeah.
And I never got a price on them. There was a language barrier.
Yeah.
But, I mean, for making parts on the OM, that would be really convenient
Yeah.
and really easy to containerize.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and then... Yeah, because then you can get all your ops without having to take it out of the vise.
Yeah, other than the 6th side.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be sick.
Well, what work holding haven't we talked about now?
don't know,
Adhesive, super glue.
Are you coming out with work holding too now?
No, definitely not. We're just gonna learn how to ingest your work holding.
There you go.
One of the things I have still been trying to figure out is how to just... I feel like work holding for all of us is just getting more complex and like adding more options that just take more setup time. And I really want to find a way that's a lot more universal. Maybe it's like not very stock efficient. Maybe it's, I don't know, less rigid. But I want to stop thinking about work holding in my shop. And I mean, obviously, I have no clue how to do that. But
I have no clue how you would do that either.
if I could get something that's like 90% of my parts, and then from now on, I just no quote anything that doesn't work with that work holding, that'd make my life a lot easier.
All right. What else we got?
You got me.
You guys see anything fun? I've seen 2 machines have issues. One was a crash, one was a broken pole stud.
Oh, man. I haven't had that.
I saw while we were setting up, there's a big gantry machine behind our booth, and it has like a nitrogen counterweight on the, like a gas spring counterweight, and the gas spring line exploded. And
Oh, no.
so that was exciting.
I think for me, the best thing that this show has done is as I see work come in, I kind of have an idea of what machines would be good for what work. Like it's seeing that machine in person versus like seeing it in a video brochure or something like that online. Like now I can go, okay, that size part might be good for a med center, or that size part would be good for a Speedio or a Hermla or Grobe, whatever machine. I can kind of look at it. I mean, I'll go crazy, but you can kind of look at it and you can go, okay, I kind of know what parts would be good for which machines based on what I've seen.
I got to see a Grobe in person the first time here at the show while I was setting up. Those are like school bus size machines.
Yeah.
They're huge.
Did you see that there's 2 here?
I only saw one.
Which one did you see?
One of the ones that was over in the work holding hall.
Well, there's 2 over there.
Oh, okay.
So I was looking for Grobe over here and I couldn't find them. And then I saw that like when you searched on the app, there was one booth that had them, and they had a big G550T, which on their website they don't have anything with a T designation. So I think that's a new machine that has turning.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure. I haven't talked to them, but that's what I'm thinking. While I was running out to get over here for the cornhole competition.
Which you dominated in.
Yeah, I did win that. That was fun.
You won?
I did.
A Datron?
Yeah.
Hey, congrats. And a Datron. You didn't win a Datron.
He didn't win
I
a
wish
Datron.
I won a
That'd be pretty
Datron.
You
good,
won a
yeah.
Datron longboard, though.
Hey, you heard it here first. I won a Datron. I expect to see that MAQ.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, just go tell Chris I said you could have it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was a lot of fun. It was a crazy comeback. So when we got back here for our semifinal round, they had all the Titan guys. They had John Saunders, which I think that was the first time I saw him. Like all these bigger name. It was just like a crowd, and both me and Weston were freaking out, and we did horrible. Like we were down 6-20, and they just needed one more point, and we came back and won it. And
Wow.
and then the next round we played against some other guys, and that round we trounced them. It was like 21-3.
Wow.
So it was a lot of fun. But yeah, I thought we were going to lose it. We were both so stressed because there were so many people. It was like this is not a live event. This is not what we signed up for. But it was fun. No, it was great. I loved it. You guys have weird rules for it though.
We do?
Yeah.
I didn't play in the cornhole. I thought they were regulation rules.
No, there's something weird.
Speaking of cornhole, I think it's happy hour time.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
You need to go get a drink?
I actually don't drink, but I'll have some water if you guys want to drink.
None of us drink either.
Okay, well, let's go watch other people drink.
There you go. That'll be fun. As well as the cornhole competition for today going on right now?
Yeah, I think they're probably playing, but we could probably sneak in a game.
All right. Got anything else?
Are we wrapping up?
I think that's it. Do you want me to do the outro?
Oh, yeah, you do those.
Oh, yeah. Well, well, guys, this is Harrison with Precision Ingenuity signing out with AJ from Audacity Micro and
Justin.
Justin from
Justin
Toolpath.
Gray from
Not
Toolpath.
Dustin.
Gosh. Yeah, you said a different name that threw me off.
I was trying to say the last name, or the correct name. I just stuttered and stumbled over
Yeah,
my
You
words.
want to redo that outro and edit it in?
Nah.
No, we don't do that
we
here.
We don't edit this stuff. We
All right.
can do this live. So anyways, yeah.
Not well, but we can do it.
Yeah, we're not well, but we do it. Anyways,
Taps and patience raw.
Tops and Patience Raw. Yeah, man. I don't want to say anything bad. I'm gonna
fans coming soon.
Yeah. This is our awkward outro. We're extending it. We always do an awkward outro. So if you've ever listened to any of our podcasts, at the end it is just chaos.
Well, I'm happy to be part of the fun then.
We call them awkward outros. Other people call them bad outros.
Yeah. With that, I think we're signing off. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll catch you next time.
Bye.